Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Anna Maria, and in this video I want to talk about a very, I can call it interesting topic. So today I will talk about discrimination, racism, prejudice and bias. Unfortunately, this is something that is very widespread in the world. It's something that happens very often. I used to think that it does not happen anymore, but it actually happens every single day with loads of people. And even many of you message me that these kind of things happened in your life, and I think that by discussing this, by talking about this, I will be able to at least make a very small change in the world. It's very important to talk about these kind of things, because if we do not talk about them, we let them happen. We let discrimination happen, we let racism happen, prejudice and bias happen. So we should discuss about these kind of things, and we should all understand that this is not normal for 2021. I just made myself some notes in my tablet to make sure that I remember everything and what I want to say, because I can get very emotional, I can forget. And I'm gonna tell you what discrimination is. Discrimination is an unjust or prejudicial treatment of different categories of people, especially on the grounds of race, age, sex, or disability. There are actually 9 grounds in the law. And you know, guys, I totally understand that things like racism, discrimination, prejudice, bias helped us survive in the past. Because imagine that there used to be a community of people, obviously ages ago, and imagine letting someone into your community without any kind of prejudice, without any kind of bias, discrimination, racism. Imagine this happening. This would be very dangerous for that little community, because you do not know who that person is. They did not used to have documents, and obviously that person would be extremely dangerous, and this is how we wouldn't survive if we were not to experience that bias, that prejudice. This is why this is embedded in our brain as a way to survive. And we still have it in our emotional brain. However, the neocortex, the thinking brain, is developing, and we have to use it. We have to understand that we live in a different world. The world is constantly changing, and prejudice, discrimination, racism, bias is not something that we will survive with. We will actually survive without these things. I will talk about a few situations so you understand what I mean. And I'll take myself as an example first of all. By making videos on YouTube, I'm exposed to a huge amount of amazing people, and thanks a lot guys for being with me. I recently had a post on Instagram and I asked you where you know me from, and so many people told me that they know me from YouTube, and I was impressed to see so many people. However, by being so open, I'm also exposed to different kind of prejudice, racism, discrimination and stuff like this. And to be honest, this is terrible. Like, for example, there are people who comment on my videos and say that, oh my god, Anna, because of you, the rents in Ireland are so high. Oh my god, Anna, because of you, my life is so terrible. Anna, you're terrible, you're making my life really bad. And guys, keep in mind that these kind of comments, they do not make your life better. They do not help you to improve the conditions of your life, to get more opportunities in life. You focus on me, on my channel. So what a comment does to me, it will obviously raise my channel activity, it will make me more money, it will make me more famous, and thanks a lot for doing it. Thank you, that's amazing. But keep in mind that you can invest your energy, your focus, your attention, your time, your effort into building something else. I was always surprised because there are so many more important things in life, like for example family, friends, moving somewhere maybe, going on to a trip, getting a better job, getting a higher salary, buying a new fridge, learning about investment. Like, learning about investment, that takes so much time. Like, every single evening I'm watching those videos, reading those books, making those notes. It takes a huge amount of time, a huge amount of focus, investment, strategy. It's not easy. And instead of improving your life, you're focusing on me, for example. And guys, thanks a lot for making me more money, but think about the fact that this will not improve your life. And you know what? I totally understand that it's very easy to say that someone is guilty for the fact that maybe you are not successful in life, that something is going wrong in your life and stuff like that. It is very easy. Even I want to say that my parents are guilty that I did not get the best education. My parents are guilty because they did not work hard enough to provide me with enough money, for example. I can do it. It's gonna make my life so much easier, but the problem is that this will not improve my life. This will not improve what is happening with me. This will not make my life conditions better. No. So instead of focusing on putting the responsibility on someone else, which is very easy to do, I will have to work a lot, to study a lot, to put a lot of effort and focus, and this is much more difficult to achieve something, to make my life better, versus saying that someone else is guilty for the bad life that I have. So keep this in mind, guys, okay? And you know, when I got those kind of comments saying that because of me the rent in Ireland has risen, I totally understand it's not because of exactly me, but because of loads of immigrants. I used to feel so terrible. I used to be like, oh my God, I'm doing such a bad thing to these people, but they have been so welcoming to me. They let me come into their country, live here for a bit, and I'm doing such a terrible thing for these people by living here, by raising their rent prices, for example. But then I was like, no, Anna, stop, wake up. No, that's not true. You will not hear people complaining and saying that, oh my God, my life is so terrible, my life is so bad. Can you imagine? I don't need a visa to travel in Europe. I want to go to Canary Islands and I do not need a visa. Or you will not hear people saying that, oh my God, my life is terrible because I want to pay some import tax, but they don't let me pay import tax. Can you believe it? But I want to pay import tax. Give me some import tax right now. I will pay them. Guys, this is so funny. You know, you will not hear people complaining about these kind of things, but people have to be ready that they get certain benefits, and obviously it's not only them who get these certain benefits, but other people in the world get these benefits. So people can move and exchange these kind of benefits, okay? And this is pretty funny, but this is true. And if you ever feel guilty or don't feel really well, and if you ever experience any kind of discrimination, think about it. Remember this thing and do not allow this thing to happen. Discrimination, racism, bias, prejudice is not allowed. Discrimination can also happen, for example, at work. Like somebody else can be treated better because they are 50 and you are 20. And when you ask your employer, why is that person treated better than me? Because we have exactly the same amount of experience, or we bring exactly the same value to the company. And if your employer tells you that that person is 50 and you are 20 and they deserve more respect, you should not allow it. This is discrimination on the grounds of age. It's not allowed. The fact that someone is 50 does not mean that they have to get more respect than you because you are 20. This is not true. We all have to get exactly the same amount of respect. The fact that someone is much older doesn't mean anymore that they're extremely bright, amazing, smart people. Like my grandma is 70. And she's an example not to follow. I love her, but she's not an example to follow. It does not mean that she's the smartest person in this world. So keep in mind the fact that we all have to be treated equally. It's not that easy. It's easy to say, but it's not that easy to implement in real life. But if you experience this kind of things, you should not allow them to happen. And obviously, in this situation, we should know our rights. We should know how to behave and what to do and try to stop this. Another example is tourism, and I'm absolutely sure that you have experienced this in your life, because maybe you went abroad and somebody charged you more money because they saw that you're a tourist and you have money, and they can charge you more because you will not get any kind of justice, you will not get any kind of help in their country, and they will allow themselves to do whatever they want. I'm sure you met these kind of situations in your life. If you didn't, I'm sure that they happened, but maybe you haven't realized it. And this is terrible because this is happening. This happened to me, and this is 2021. We should not allow these kind of situations to happen. It's very hard to probably prevent these situations when we travel abroad. However, we can at least start talking about this. Maybe we will start making a change and start with ourselves and behaving nicely with tourists, for example. Obviously with those who are being respectful. And somebody else will start to copy us, will start to do exactly the same thing. We'll understand that actually we have to behave nicely with people. Doesn't matter if they're tourists or they're locals, as long as they respect us, obviously. And the last but not the least thing that really surprised me is when, for example, some parents do not allow their children to play with other kids in case they have Down syndrome, in case they have a different skin color, or maybe they're coming from a different country. And I was like, what? When I've heard about this, I was so shocked. I was so surprised. How can you behave like this? What is that other child gonna do to your child? Like, nothing is going to happen. The fact that a child has the Down syndrome doesn't mean that he was the person who chose to have a Down syndrome. It just happened. We're just normal people living in our lives. Yes, they are slightly different, but we're absolutely normal people. And I'm really shocked. If somebody is coming from a different country, why do you automatically think that that person is more stupid, for example? Maybe their parents are very bright, intelligent, interesting people. I'm really surprised, especially this thing with kids, with not allowing your child to play with another child. I was so shocked when I've heard about these things happening. I was like, wow, how can this happen in the real world? How can this happen in 2021? I was really shocked. So guys, this is not normal. And you know, guys, we should stop it. It should not happen. Like, discrimination, racism, prejudice, bias should not happen. We should try to stop it as much as possible. And if you yourself discriminate, if you yourself have a lot of prejudice, bias, if you consider yourself a racist, don't forget that you definitely have close people and they can experience it themselves. You might have children and your children can experience it. And would you like your children to experience racism, discrimination, prejudice, bias? I'm sure that you wouldn't like this, and no one wants to experience it. It's a terrible thing, and this is why we have to stop it right now. We have to stop it here in 2021 and not let it happen again. And what I'm trying to do myself to change this situation is, first of all, film this video. I'm talking about this topic, and guys, it was very difficult for me to make this video, but I understand that I have to do it. I have to try to make a small change. I have to talk about it, because if we do not talk about these kind of things, they will happen. We allow them to happen. Secondly, I am being very, very respectful to people around me. And thirdly, I'm learning about my rights. I want to know my rights. I want to know when somebody is allowed or not allowed to behave with me in a certain way. Cool, guys. This wasn't an easy video. I'm sure that somehow it will help us get over this problem, because if people wouldn't talk about women's rights, we wouldn't have rights now. If people wouldn't talk about other big global problems, we wouldn't have them sorted at the moment, or at least partially sorted, you know. This is why we have to discuss these topics. It's very difficult, I know, but we have to do it and we have to stop it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'm waiting for your comments, and I will see you in the next video.